Hello, good morning to you. This is Cliff Graves from Train Well Boxing. Before we start, I just want to apologize if you have listened to some of the previous discussions that we've produced for you, and if you think it's a little bit long-winded. But I have to do what I feel is my moral duty here and forewarn you. Test Trainwell Extreme Strength Training was compiled over much diligent research, all my knowledge of amateur boxing, kickboxing, of my many years as a personal trainer within the fitness industry. Everything brought to you with the best intentions, the most loyalist intentions. Look, I could come on, couldn't I? How easy is it? You could do it, the next person could do it, anybody could do it. Get onto YouTube and just spurt off a load of baloney and not really care what you're saying, what you're thinking about. But that is not the case with Train Well Boxing. I am the business owner. This is my company. I am Train Well Boxing, and Train Well Boxing is me. And I just have a passion, even though I'm almost 60. I'll be 60 years of age next month. It has taken a different format, admittedly. I'm not clambering up through the ropes again, but it's just there. It's just there, and it ain't going away. So I really care about you people, and you can either accept that or not accept that. I hope you do accept that. I really do hope you do accept it. I know it might sound flippant, it might sound insensitive, but I can't worry if you don't, can I? I'm concerned for your safety and your results when you strength train. The skills training, don't let somebody try and teach you skills training. That's hands-on. That's the job of your trainers, your coaches. They will know what type of stance you like to fight in, what type of guard you like, what your favorite punches are, what motivates you, what demotivates you. Everything about you emotionally, physically, spiritually. They'll know everything. I'll say spiritually, but emotionally and physically, they'll know you. They know, good coaches know their fighters. And they don't really want somebody that doesn't know you, like myself, warbling on about skills training. I can give a general overview, okay? But for tailor-made, you've got to be there with that person. And even really with strength training, if I'm being brutally honest, what I'm trying to do is encourage you and hopefully lead you away These audios are not made for kids. I know we don't wrap our kids up in cotton wool, but I want to lead you away from these wankers that will lead you astray in one way or another. So I'm going to touch on two things in strength training. As a fighter, I don't believe you should be doing. And that is Olympic lifting and power lifting. Now, I take my hat off for Olympic lifters, because they have to be the most athletic athletes in existence. I did used to once think it was gymnasts or high board divers or trampolinists, where they twist and they spin their bodies all over the place. But get this, an Olympic lifter that can snatch, it's called the Olympic snatch. It's an actual lift. I know it sounds a funny name, but it is called the snatch. Well over 100 kilograms above their head in one movement. And they get into that down position where you could say you're in the hole. You know the position I mean. They snatch that way over one for one. And then they're in the down position. If you look at their back is totally upright, because they'd lose the lift if there was just one bit of inclination in the spine, and they've got over 100 kilograms above them. They're losing that lift, and that bar is going to travel down and smash over the back of their neck. If you then look at the position of their knees, with a straight body, their knees are actually right alongside the torso. Can you imagine for one moment the absolute flexibility in the hips that they would have to have? Then they stand up. The power. Their hips are literally almost scooting the ground. They drive up the power that they have whilst keeping their spines upright. Fantastic. So I take my hats off to them. Then you look at powerlifting. Now, the guts of these powerlifters is just beyond me. They're hoisting up, say, a deadlift. Really heavy deadlift. And they ain't giving up. They ain't bottling out. They are not giving up. And the nose starts to bleed. And they still carry on. So what I'm saying to you is, I am not having a pop. Repeat, I am not having a pop at powerlifting and or Olympic lifting. I just don't think either of those are correct for a fighter. And I'll come to that in a minute, why I don't think that. Neither do I think this needless jumping on and off boxes, plyometrics. What's the point of doing that? As you know, this is functional. This is you know, get the words out in a minute. Sorry, this is activating the central nervous system. That's the point of doing that. You tell me a punch where you jump up, you move forward. With the left hook, you're moving forward. You might say, oh, what about the uppercut? You're still traveling in with that uppercut. You really are. It's a horizontal force as opposed to a vertical force. When I watch, and I do on YouTube, some of these idiots portraying they understand the fight game, I say, well, how many times did you compete as a competitive boxer? How many times? Please tell me. I'm up in double digits. I had 49 fights and a few in the kickboxing arena. Am I saying I know it all? No. Am I saying I know more than professional coaches, boxing coaches, fighters? No. What I am saying is I know what I'm talking about with strength training for a fighter. And adopting Olympic lifts is just foolhardy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if a fighter dropped or missed the lift with a power snatch? What do you think could happen? What do you think could happen? They could get badly injured. That could be the end of their career. And I can tell you something for nothing. If you are world-class professional fighter and some absolute tosspot advises you to do a power snatch, tries to train you the technique and all the rest of it, and you fuck it up and you injure yourself, that strength trainer better leave the country, because there's going to be some very, very, very upset hombres. I'm telling you that. Stay away from Olympic lifting. The other thing you've got to remember is, and this happens as early as they're 9, 10, 11 years old, out in the Eastern Bloc, right? They will look at kids as young as 9, 10, 11, and they'll ascertain what type of sport their body, their physique is, you know, suited to. As early as 9, 10, and 11 years of age. So you might get, when they're looking at, should this kid become a thrower, shot putter, discus, javelin, or what have you? Or should they become an Olympic lifter? Now, I don't know which way this is around, but it is what they look at. It is all to do with the depth of the acetabulum. That's the little, like in our shoulder joints, we've got like the glenoid fossa, which the ball of the humerus sits in this little glenoid fossa. It's the same with the hips, but in that case, it's the acetabulum. And they look for depths of the acetabulum. So, like I said, I don't know which way it is around, but if it's a shallow, let's just say I'm correct, all right? If I'm incorrect, I apologize. As I've just said, I don't know which way it is around. But let's just say if it's a shallow acetabulum, they will make good Olympic throwers, hammer, shot put, javelin, that sort of thing. If the acetabulum is deeper, then they are more suited to Olympic lifting. And they find that out early. And if it's just this group, because obviously you've got the group that'd be fighters, swimmers, gymnasts, that sort of thing. But we're just talking about difference between throwing sports and Olympic lifters. They will ascertain that early on, and then they will start training that kid at a really early age. And that is why they are so successful in not only the throwing sports, but also Olympic lifting. So you might think, well, I don't understand where you're going with all of this, Cliff. A boxing coach will not know that. Neither will general run-of-the-mill strength training coach know that. So if they've got a boxer that's got either a deep or a shallow acetabulum that is not suited for Olympic lifting, can you see the relevance, what I'm saying here? Can you see that? Can you understand it? Can you grasp that? Can you accept that? You know, it's like trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Forcibly, you'll get it in there. If you hammer it in, it will go in, but you won't get it out again. It's the same. You can't do that with the fighting sports. You just can't do it. It's too risque. And in professional boxing, especially in professional boxing, there is hundreds of thousands, millions even, lying on the next fight coming up. And if you excuse my French, I'm going to use expletives here. This is why it's not meant for children. If you fucked up that athlete, that boxer, because you've given him something that you think is, oh yeah, makes me look cool, then woe betide you. That's all I would say. So, okay, that's all the wrong way of doing it. Leave out plyometrics. Leave out powerlifting. Leave out Olympic lifting. Don't touch it. Don't even touch it with a barge pole. Go as far away from the east as to the west, or north to the south. Just stay well away from that type of thing. And if anyone's advocating it, walk the other direction away from them, because they're going to eventually jack you up and they could end your career. If you're an up-and-coming amateur boxer, because of some prick or idiots, they have finished your career before it's even begun. And if you're a professional, up-and-coming professional, even world-class professional, stay away from plyometrics, Olympic lifting and powerlifting. Stay well away from it. I strongly implore you. Stay away. So you might be thinking, well, come on then, right, tell us then what to do. I have told you in previous chats and discussions we've had, but I will reiterate it so you can see that there's consistency and I'm not contradicting anything that I say. You have to, with strength training, you've got to stimulate the fast twitch muscle fibers. That's what you're trying and attempting to do. Okay? This can be done with heavy weights. Okay? This can be done with heavy weights. But I will reiterate this story because some of you might not have listened to this chat that we've had. Years ago, I was in a commercial gym in Eastbourne in the UK. And used to go down the stairs. They used to have the machines upstairs and used to go down the stairs into the basement and there'd be all the free weights. And it was in the afternoon, in a weekday, because I used to then work early shifts, you know, start at 6, finish at 2. Anyway, so there I am, just about ready to perform my bench press, because I did have several bench press benches and stuff. And in my peripheral vision, I saw this black guy. He must have been as broad as he was tall. He was about 5'10", I reckon. He must have been 19, 20, 21 stone. He was humongous. Anyway, cut a long story short, he was repping out over 200 kilograms, not over 200, and or 4 for a set, so 4 reps. And I said to this guy, whoa. I made a joke of it. I said, well, I was going to do my set, but I think, wait until you finished and left. He said, you don't want to be like that. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. You know, respect yourself. Don't be like that. I said, well, how did you get to this stage? He said, from small acorns. It's got to be progressive. So, I'd love to get to that stage. I said, well, one thing you've got to remember, when you start to go extremely heavy, you do put immense stress and strain on your connective tissue. The muscles, per se, in the pectorals, the triceps, the deltoids, the muscles themselves are pretty much foolproof. You know, there have been incidences of collapsed pectoral muscles, but they're pretty much guaranteed you're not going to do anything to your muscle. But the connective tissue, hang on a minute, that is a completely different matter. You got to think that the connective tissue, as it goes over the rotator cuff, I'm talking about now, as it goes over that ball and socket joint, the shoulder ball and socket joint, I'm not sure whether it's the origin end or the insertion end. Again, they're only band-like, the tendons, the ligaments, whatever, the connective tissue, they're only band-like at one end. And he had said he had suffered from injuries for a long time. And he said his shoulder, particularly his left shoulder, he was right-handed, his left shoulder was something that was ongoing. So do you get what I'm trying to say? I know I've been speaking for 24 minutes, but please stay with me, people. Please, please, please stay with me. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You fuck up your left shoulder, and it doesn't matter whether you're a southpaw or an orthodox. That's it. End of your career. It's over. Finished. All because you wanted to look flash. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just being honest. All because you wanted to be flash and you thought, oh, lifting heavy gets you stronger. Yes, it does. And anybody that's got an ounce of intelligence will say, yes, it does. But it comes with inherent risks. That's the thing I'm saying. You take a heavy squat, back squat. People might say, look, you're not made out of tissue, mate. You're not made out of tissue. But I can tell you, power lifters that have destroyed their spines. The muscles take it in the legs. The muscles take it in the hips. The trunk muscles will stabilize you. But the spine won't. The spine has a breaking point. And it will break. And it does. And it has. And it will continue to. If you play around with heavy weights. So now we've got heavy weights, leave alone. Olympic lifting, leave alone. Powerlifting, leave alone. Leave alone plyometrics. There's one other thing they talk about, force absorption. Really? Force absorption? Well, hang on a minute. Force absorption for a fighter, for a boxer. Force absorption. That means throwing a weight up and catching it and all this malarkey. This means plyometrics and all that malarkey. Don't be seduced into that type of training. Stay well clear. Force, you will get all the force absorption you like from bag work, from pad work, even more so with the shield, the padded shield, the single padded shield. The correct type of force absorption you need. Okay? Then they talk, I heard about, endurance, you know, the muscle memory from all these heavy lifts and all the rest of it. That's the way to go. That's bollocks. That's bollocks. It is bollocks. As an up-and-coming amateur, 99% of amateurs, up-and-coming amateurs, will almost be classed as semi-professional, right? Which means they will be undoubtedly holding down a job, whether that's part-time or full-time. They will be holding down a job, and not every up-and-coming amateur is going to have a sedentary job, an office job. Some are going to be out there doing some real hard graft. So unless you want to burn yourself out, you've got to pick your training intelligently. Now, strength training does have its place and should have its place. Endurance training, don't try and reinvent the wheel. Please don't try and reinvent the wheel, please. Endurance training, for the sake of what we're trying to do as a fighter, you will get endurance. I'll come to that, and we're saying in a minute. Please stay with me. This is an extended one. I hope you're getting nuggets of encouragement from this and knowledge. But there are sort of two types of endurance, but they both overlap each other. There's cardiovascular endurance and there's muscular endurance. If you allow me, let me just park muscular endurance and handle cardiovascular. What you need is to look at your age. This is a good rule of thumb. Look at your age. If you're 20, okay, you take this figure that the geeks have come up with, and they said 220. You minus it, and that is your maximum heart rate, 200. Well, I'll tell you what, if your heart rate is going at 200 beats a minute, I don't think you'd get there. I even think with a 20-year-old highly conditioned boxer in and around 170-ish, 170-ish. So how do you get that? Keep it simple. Right, you can get on to a stationary bicycle. You can get out and do some road work, but keep it simple. Keep it simple. In the case of road work, we always advocate jogging and sprinting, jogging and sprinting, jogging and sprinting, jogging and sprinting. But today, 2024, the roads are a little bit more dangerous than what they were when I was doing my road work in the 70s and 80s. A lot more, a lot more. So everyone lives near a park, don't they? Get yourself to a park, jog over to the park so you're nicely warmed up. Get over to the park and look at a little route that you can take that's nice and flat, nice and firm, no little divots that you can trip over in. Say, right, well, if I run to that tree, I'll jog. If I sprint to that tree, I'll jog to that tree, and then I'll sprint to that tree, like that. A favourite one is actually to run over to a football pitch. You get to a football pitch, full-size one I'm talking about, and you jog up the length of the football pitch. You sprint across the width. The other side, the other length, you jog down the length. You come down to the other end, sprint across the width, jog up, sprint, jog down, sprint, bang, 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 until you are done. Until you are done. Now, the essence of cardiovascular fitness is, yes, to get your heart rate right up there. One, in the case of the 20-year-old, 170-ish. Either way, 200 is like manic. 170-ish, right? But it is also critical to get that heart rate down. So you've done the sprint across the width of a football pitch. Now you're going down the length of the jogging. That's the time when you're trying to recover and get your heart rate down. You won't get it down to between 50 and 60 beats a minute. You just won't. It will still be elevated a little bit, but a really highly conditioned athlete will succeed in decreasing their heart rate significantly. And that's the essence of fighting, isn't it? You sit down, whether you're an amateur and it hasn't been stopped in the first round or whatever, or a professional, it hasn't been KO'd or whatever in the first round, you sit down on that stool to recover. That is what is known as interval training. When you gas, when you get fatigued, tired in the ring, that is when your coordination goes. That is when your coordination goes. Okay? You don't need to do these stupid, inane Olympic lift type things and think, oh yeah, mate, I'm really on it, on the money now with my training. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're just wasting your energy, time and energy in futile, useless exercises. Don't do them. You know, so coordination, where does all that come into it? Well, yeah, but what about all this coordination training? What about when you, well, look, you're doing the strength training, you're doing the endurance training, you're underpinning all of this with skills training. We used to get in the ring and we used to do these lateral movements. There's about 3 of us. And it was like always a competition. Try and get him up. Try and see if you can touch him on his shoulder. And we go round and round. Change, go around the other way. Round and that change. If you're a boxer, you know what I mean. And there'd be a couple of coaches there watching. You're crossing your legs. Stop crossing your legs. Do it properly. And when you started to get fatigued, all sorts of funny positions and things would happen. The coach would bark out, keep your legs, do not cross your legs. If you do that in the ring, you'll get yourself knocked clean out. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The coordination part is part of your skills training. It should not repeat, not be anything to do with anything else, for goodness sake. Please, I implore you, please. If you never listen to me again, please stay away from plyometrics, Olympic lifting, powerlifting. Okay, stay away from these fancy, made up exercises of force absorption. Stay away from that. Look, we're in the fight game, right? Yes, there's a bit of rough and tumble inside, but can you imagine if you shouldered your opponent? What do you think the referee would do? He'd stop. He'd say, well, don't do that again. Don't you do that again. We're not rugby players. We're not American football players per se. We don't need to have this force absorption like they're trying to say. It is a useless, futile, puerile waste of energy. It is highly unprofessional. Highly unprofessional. And yet people listen to these idiots who probably have never, ever even put a pair of boxing gloves on, let alone got through the ropes. Never. Certainly not from a competitive point of view. And you lot, I hope that are listening, have and are. So we know the score more than these prats that serve us up with all this useless bollocks. Stay away from it. Stay away from it. I did say to you, didn't I? Well, I've just looked up 40 minutes. If you're still with me, brilliant stuff. But yeah, when you do our type of training, which we have talked about this, so I don't want it. You're going to have to go hunting and find these all other audios, all right? But listen, we control the weight initially, which will initially fire up, guess what? Slow twitch muscle fibers. And you want that in your arsenal as well. Yes, boxing is predominantly a fast twitch sport, but you need that there for if you're clambering up off your stool, you're a heavyweight and you've had 12 hard rounds, and you've got to have muscular endurance. Muscular endurance and cardiovascular endurance do seem to go hand in hand. A stationary bike will really do that quite well. We prefer jogging and sprinting, by the way. But anyway, so you're activating these slow twitch muscle fibers during this involuntary. You're causing the bar to go slower. You are making it go 5 seconds down, 5 seconds up. You're not extending. We're talking about, say, a bench press now. You're not extending fully out. You're keeping, the operative word here for strength training is tension. You want that tension, because when you've exhausted the slow twitch muscle fibers, that's the time that the fast twitch muscle fibers activate. That is what, as fighters, we're after, but you're doing it in a safe way. Okay, I'm going to finish up now. And I really hope you've enjoyed this. I really, really do. I would strongly urge you to look out for TEST, Trainwell Extreme Strength Training, which is imminent. Okay, and that will give you a complete overview. It's a 26. Hang on. 6 months for 6. Sorry, it's not 26, is it? For 6 months for 4 weeks. Apologize. See, I told you these edited these videos, but I like it gradually like that, and I hope you do. 24-week, right? Complete holistic strength and conditioning program, which I, yours truly, me, Cliff Graves, owner of Trainwell Boxing, have put together with your best intentions at heart, to keep you safe, to keep you fit, to get you super strong, so that you can excel when you fight in the ring. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed it. That's it for today. This is Cliff Graves from Trainwell Boxing. Speak to you again soon. Ciao.